Welcome, everybody. I guess we're getting close to the end of the day, so I hope you still have energy, but we will get through this together. So, I realized while I am working in the terminal and doing stuff on the computer, we are actually kind of doing this thing, and we kind of separate ourselves from the real world. So, this talk is going to be about Ratatouille, but not the library. It's gonna be a cooking class. So I'm gonna wear my apron. You guys were not expecting this, right? But give me a second. Okay. All right, I'm just kidding. Going back to the terminal, we're gonna talk about how we are building the future of the terminal using Rust, and this is quite a packed one. So bear with me. There will be a lot of cool stuff and impressive stuff in there. So yeah, you already know me, Orhun Parmaksız. I'm involved in open source, Rust, and terminals. I am maintaining Ratatouille, Ratzilla, GitCliff, inside of these projects, and even more than these. I will talk about Ratatouille and Ratzilla today. The other ones you can check my GitHub. I'm also doing some package maintenance for Arch Linux for some years now. I am packaging your favorite Rust tools for this distro and making it available for you and for other people. So if a new Rust tool comes out, I am usually the first one to package it, usually, but there's other people too. So yeah, you can get more information about me on my GitHub, where my life is, and I am also doing some live streaming on YouTube, YouTube/OrhunDev. I am doing stuff like this, doing dips for every Rust compiler error, so that I can keep myself fit and my mind sharp. But sometimes it's painful. Freaking Rust. So yeah, in today's keynote talk, my goal is to first familiarize you with the terminal in case you are not familiar with it. I'm gonna then showcase the power of Rust in the terminal and equip you with modern libraries and tools out there so that you can use Rust to build your dream tool. And the end goal is just to inspire you to build things simply. And for that, I'm just gonna showcase some cool stuff. Firstly, I am guessing you know what a terminal is, but in case there isn't someone, there is someone who's not familiar with it, or if someone watching was not using the terminal, I'm just gonna give a quick rundown of what a terminal and why you should use it. So here we are. I'm gonna actually run one of my favorite terminal emulators, Rio. So this is my terminal. I have some shaders and some cool stuff. It looks like that. And if I am explaining terminal to someone who doesn't know much about computers or terminal, I just say something like, it is something, so the terminal is something that takes an input, for example, ls, and gives you an output, which in this case, just the directories or like the files. Well, this is very basic. Like this approach to computing has been around for many years. Well, you might say, if terminal is something that has been around for a long time, well, it's 2025. Why are we still using the terminal, right? First of all, terminal is timeless because it's because of its nature. It's been working the same way across decades. Like a long time ago, it was the same. Today, it's the same. It's basically the way that we are telling the computer to do something. Since it's something very basic and something very fundamental, it's not going to change in the future as well. It's going to be around for a long time, as long as the computers exist, I think. And it's also very powerful. You can just make it do whatever you want it to do. You can write your own scripts. You can automate your tasks, and there's like endless possibilities to that. It runs on a potato. You can basically run it on very resource constrained environments. And because of these features, I think terminal is going to be around for a long time. And the best way to explain what a terminal is, I think, to say something like, it make the machine do exactly what you want to do with minimal friction. You want to perform a task, you can do it in a terminal with not running into a lot of issues. If you can just compare this to any real world example, but I have some examples for you today. The first one is, sometimes while I'm making music, I want to download MP3 from YouTube, illegally. Doesn't matter. I just want to get some MP3 file from somewhere, right? And usually when I want to do that, I'm on some platform which has, I'm on Windows basically, right? Because there's some music programs there. So I'm like, okay, what is the quickest way of doing that? I just search download MP3 from YouTube on Google, go to a website, and this happens. I'm like, okay, I just click there, there's an ad, I close the ad, I go to a new page, it's a mess. But if you use the terminal, it's just this command, right? It's very easy. Well, going to another example, let's say you're a system admin, you want to monitor your network traffic. To do that, let's say you use something like Wireshark. Well, it's a similar scenario where you just open up the GUI, click these things and get the packets, and finally you can do some work, right? Whereas in the terminal, if you use something like Oryx, this is a terminal user interface written in Rust and built with Ratatouille. Let me just run it. Oh, sorry, try again. Yep, I can now monitor my network in the terminal. Just, I don't know why these packets are like that, but anyways, you get the idea. You can just get like the packets here. You can like search, save, do some filters, bunch of things. You can see the stats in your network, adapter, matrix, even some alerts. You can just like get some alerts if you have some attack going on in your network. Also, there are some firewall rules if you want to block a address. So it's just easy as that compared to the other example. So the terminal it is the past, present, and the future because of these reasons. And as I said, it's going to be around. Well, how about Rust? How does Rust come into play? Well, I can just spend some time explaining why Rust is a great language and basically these concepts, but I'm gonna actually do that in a more practical way. I'm just gonna show you some examples because like there are a lot of talks out there which explains these concepts and why Rust is great, the borrow checker, the safety, and so on. But let's just take a look at some practical stuff, right? So the first one is performance. Well, I was learning Zig at some point, and Zig added a native HTTP server and client to its standard library. So I decided to run some benchmarks and decided to compare it with the other languages. And I really saw the performance of Rust while I was doing that. I was using Hyperfine to run these equally written HTTP clients, and Rust was just competing with itself. You see, like I have the Hyper one, UREC one, request ones, and they're just like the fastest. Zig was on the 5th or 4th place. So this was from I think 2 years ago, or 2 years ago. But you can like run this again, and you'll get similar results. It is a really performant language. When it comes to safety, we can actually get safety and performance at the same time, which is a interesting thing. But we can just get both pills. And I don't want to like spend time explaining why Rust is safe. Instead, I'm gonna show you an example from the command line and how Rust can be safe in a situation where you are running commands, basically like system safety, so to speak. So take a look at this issue. So n extra space at line whatever, there's rf command, and since there's this little space over here, this thing just deletes the whole user directory. And this is an actual issue. You can just still go to this issue and see the comments. It's just hilarious, but also really tragic. So this guy says, "Hey, totally uncool, dude. This deletes everything. Just fix it ASAP, right?" Well, this won't happen today. I mean, I hope. But let's say you kind of did the same mistake in Rust, which is not. I know it's not like the same issue, but I'm just proving a point here, so bear with me. Let's say you did this, right? You kind of like, hey, let me just put a space there. Well, since everything is path in Rust and usually checked, you will get an error message and you won't make this mistake. Speaking of error messages, there are really good error messages. This is wrong. Yeah, it's really good error messages. So and this is how I learned Rust, actually. I was like, okay, I want to write this TUI program, right? 2019, I just want to like learn Rust and build this thing. Well, I was a bit lazy back then. I still am, but I didn't want to like spend some time just reading and like learning. I just wanted to write the code and do whatever I want. I know some of you feel that way sometimes. So I was like, okay, I can do this. You know, I mean, I wrote code before. Why can't I just write Rust and do this thing? And I just learned Rust through its error messages. I was writing some code thinking that it's correct. I get an error message. I search it on Google. I get some results. Same guy, like some guy did the same mistake, and I go to documentation because it's usually like it's been linked somewhere, and there's this other guy who says you're doing everything wrong. Go to this page, read it again, and so on. So I just learned Rust that way, and then I read the official book and so on. But this really helped me. I'm not saying you should learn Rust that way, but it's possible because of the error messages. When it comes to the ecosystem, and I think the most powerful part of Rust when it comes to CLI and terminals, there are really great command line tools and tooling overall. You have Cargo, first of all. You have Rust C. You even have Rustlings, which teaches you Rust, and so on. And apart from these official tooling, you have more. You have these Cargo plugins, which I couldn't even fit here because like there are too many. But these are the stuff that I maintain, and it just gives you a lot of tooling if you are working in the terminal, which is great. Otherwise, you wouldn't have these things in your IDE. You could have some plugins to do the same thing, but not all of them. Not all of them. So yeah, you can go to this librs page to get the whole list of other command line libraries. But just to talk about the main ones, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a couple of examples. First one is clap. I think most of you know what clap is, a CLI argument parsing library. I mean, it's just great. Works well. I mean, I use it in many projects. And my favorite way of using it is actually having a struct where you define your arguments and then just being parsed. I'm going to show you a project which I used clap and its help output. So this is kind of an output you get if you use clap. And I kind of like this because of some reasons. Mainly it's because it's easier to read. You can like get an idea of what the commands are doing. Maybe you are disagreeing with me right now, but like everyone has his own taste. I kind of like this format where you can actually know. So this one, for example, takes three dots. This means multiple arguments, and the brackets and the arrow characters have their own meaning and so on. You can also like use environment variables to override these arguments. I will actually kind of refactor this a bit and have a separate section for these arguments, but anyways, you got the point. So clap is just great. Moving on, colored. This is for having colored output in your terminal. So without this, you need to run a ANSI escape code like this to get a blue text. But with colored, you basically add a just call the name of the color on a string. You get this thing, and just works out of the box. We actually have a similar trait in Rustmeet called stylize, which enables you to just call the name of the color and get colored text or like widgets as well. So quite a nice one. This is a trait which has been imported and so on. So yeah. Moving on, duct. Has anybody used this before? Okay. Well, let's say you want to run this command in Rust and get the output, or like read the output line by line. Well, duct allows you to do that by just giving you a cmd macro, which is being used here. So you're just calling bash and this command, and then you call std error to std out, which redirects the output, and you can just use a buff reader to read by line. You could do this in standard process command module, but you need to do some redirection on the commands, and it get quite complex because you might run into some race conditions and so on. So duct is just does that for you without the risk of creating some zombie processes. And actually, there's more to that. Like there's like even more libraries, so you can go check them out yourself. When it comes to my favorite Rust library for the terminal, does anybody know what R in Rust stands for? Yes, exactly, Ratatouille. So that's basically my favorite, and that's why you guys are here today, I guess. So Ratatouille is a Rust library that's for cooking up terminal user interfaces. We have a demo here. I'm gonna just run it and show you what you can do in the terminal. We have some widgets over here. We have this, so you can first of all like manipulate the like the cells in the terminal, whatever you want. Like you can just use RGB like this, have some animations and so on. But to keep it basic, you can have a list, some table, some spark line. This is the spark line, some map like thing over there, line gauges and bar. I don't know, progress bar. So yeah, you can basically build, like use this widgets to build stuff like that. We have more widgets, but usually we say anything that implements a widget trait is a widget. So if you want to like build a widget library, you just implement a widget trait on something, and then you can just render it as usual. There are some key concepts in Ratatouille. I'm gonna talk about these 3 ones, but like there are like even more. You can just go and learn about more of them on the website. So a minimal example before I go into the key concepts. Right now, if you want to build a Ratatouille application, this is how your code looks like. You first need to initialize your terminal, and then you will create a render loop. In the loop, you need to draw your widgets. You can see here I'm calling frame render widget, and this thing over here needs to implement the widget trait. String implements the widget trait, so you can just render a string. And then you match on some events and do something. Basically, in this case, we're just breaking from the loop. And then we restore the terminal to go back to its original state. Because if you're running a TUI, you are simply in an alternate screen. You gotta restore your like original prompt. So you have to call that. And this is how it looks like. And we are actually working on simplifying this even more. So there's a PR right now open for adding a Ratatouille run method. So you can see here, just Ratatouille run will give you a terminal, and you can do whatever you want in that closure. So this is not accepted yet. It's actually about to be merged, but not available yet. It will be available in the next releases. So we are developing this. We are trying to make this more ergonomic and so on. So yeah. When it comes to rendering, like I said, you need to have a loop, and you might be wondering, why is that? Well, it's very straightforward, because Ratatouille is an immediate mode rendering library, which means that you will have a state. Let's say you have a toggle state, and based on this toggle state, you need to do some actions. So for every frame, we are re-rendering the UI in this approach. So based on this toggle state, you are either rendering a bar chart or a line gauge. And this is different from the retain mode rendering approach, where you are rendering your UI once and updating the state to update the UI. In this case, we're just re-rendering everything, basically. For the layout, you can split your layout or create different layouts in many ways. For example, you can split your layout horizontally, and then you can use constraints to, let's say, like constraint percentage 50, and then another percentage 50. It will just create a equally split layout. And this gives us the flexibility to actually dynamically build these terminal UIs. For example, let's say you're rendering a list that contains some messages, and you can just check the message count, and based on that, you can arrange the constraints, so your layout will actually shrink or expand based on the content. The best way of just getting an idea of how constraints work is just to take a look at the constraint exemplar, constraint explorer demo on the examples repo, examples directory. So this is quite a nice interactive example. So you can add like different constraints. Let's say I want to like 20% of the screen, right? Or 50. Add another one. This one. Let's see. Let's say like 20%, right? You can add more, or delete them, or like, I don't know, change the constraint type, I don't know, fill maybe, and so on. So you can like play around with this and see how they are affecting each other, and see how flex layouts work. And it's quite useful if you're getting into designing UIs in the terminal. And we have a flex demo as well. So if you run it, you'll get this little demo where you can just scroll down and see how different flex layouts work. And yeah, you can just take a look at those to understand layouts better. Event handling is not handled in Ratatouille, actually. We are providing some backends for it, because we are basically a widget library. So we want to provide whatever you need for building these UIs, these widgets, but we don't want to get in the way of manipulating your terminal. So usually we are using crossterm for that purpose. Crossterm just handles all the ANSI escape codes for us, but you can use other ones that are listed here. There are a couple of strategies when it comes to handling the events. First one is the centralized event handling, where you are just checking the events in a central place. Like I show you in the loop, you can just check the events there, or you can just use multiple producers, single consumer channels to send back some events and just handle them at a central place. Or you can just have event handling for each part of your application, which is a bit more complex, but those are just possible. And we don't really say that you should structure your application a certain way. It's just up to you to decide which one is best for your architecture. A simple example is just this code, where you have a timeout for polling the events, and if there is an event, we just read it, basically. So the timeout just checks the event. This is like running at 60 FPS, and then if there's an event, we just break from somewhere. I don't know where. We're just breaking stuff. So yeah, there are some example applications that I wanted to show to you using the stock Ratatouille widgets. First one is television. It's like a telescope. If you're using NeoVim or Vim, you know telescope. It's like a telescope-like UI, where you have these lists and also syntax highlighting and some files. Very nice looking, very basic example of a TUI, also very powerful project. The other one is this BMM, Thermal Bookmark Manager, which I started using recently. So I realized I have like 3,000 bookmarks on Firefox, and I'm like, if I lose my profile, everything is gone. So I just exported them, and now I am actually browsing them in my terminal. One sec. There you go. So I don't know, search for cargo. So these are the bookmarks that I bookmarked over the years, basically. So I'm just using that. But okay, so these are like simple examples, simple but powerful examples, and they look like any other like TUI that you have seen so far, right? What if you want more? What if that's not Gucci enough for you, right? Well, don't worry, we are getting there slowly. We have a library called TechUnFX. So this is a library for adding shader-like animations to your Ratatouille applications. Let me just show it to you. So this is, again, running in the terminal. You can do stuff like that, this, basically some RGB stuff. And yeah, let me just scramble the text. And it's very powerful. You can like use the, okay, I just saw the name there. You can just use this to like add custom animations to your Ratatouille apps. This is another example. This is basically rendering a widget, and on top of that, rendering some animation. Can I add more widgets? Yeah, there you go. And it's quite easy actually to add these. I'm going to show it to you. All right, this is a nice demo. Hold on. Maybe you have seen this before, but this is an actual app built with Ratatouille and TechUnFX. And you're seeing, this borders have animations. The menus here, they have these cool animations. If you select something, like everything is so shiny. This is not in the terminal anymore, right? It feels like you're on a cockpit of some spaceship or something. It's quite impressive. So TechUnFX and Ratatouille just makes these UIs possible in the terminal. And like I said, it's quite easy to use it. So let's say you have an existing Ratatouille app and you want to add these effects. You just have to compose your effect like this. Quite a nice API they have. And then just render the effect as any other widget on top of what you're already drawing. So TechUnFX will just, I don't know, apply the effect on top of the existing cells in the terminal. So it's very easy. And they recently added a domain-specific language, so you can actually define the effects in a separate, like, I don't know, file or in a string, and just compile the effects and just like apply them to your app. So if that's not enough, still, if you want to use your GPU and render some shaders, that's also possible now, thanks to TUI shader. So I'm gonna run the demos. So this is like a TUI app. I don't know if you can see it, but like it's, yeah, it's rendering shaders. This is another example. This doesn't look that good because my font size is too big, but you get the idea. You can just like render anything. This is a cool demo. So this is a shader editor or live coding shader or something. So you can like change the code here. Let's say, I don't know, I put like 100 here, 100, and just refresh. And like it just helps you to write these things. And yeah, quite a nice demo over there. So like the possibilities are just endless. Let's say you have a favorite shader file or something like that. You can simply just import it using this code. It's from TUI shader. Once again, shader canvas state and just shader canvas are just what you need. And this frame is actually Ratatouille frame. And this also, this is from Ratatouille. So you can just render it as any other widget and just renders in the terminal. All right, so that's still not enough. I have built Ratzilla for building websites because I like the terminal aesthetics a lot. So there's like a FOSDEM talk about that. You can go ahead and watch it. To show you the demo, let me just run this. Localhost. So this is now in the browser, and I am using Ratatouille to render this TUI, and also the animation was TechUnFX. And this is like functional, so you can like I don't know, switch tabs. There's still a bug about the rendering, but ignore it. And yeah, you can just like turn your existing Ratatouille app into a web application using this library. It uses WebAssembly and something called a trunk tool to just serve these apps. And there was a website that was built with it actually. It's called Tuzister. So I hope my internet will work here. It's for calculating the resistor values, and it's again built with Ratatouille and Ratzilla. You can simply like select colors and it will work. And for these simple use cases, I think it's a great library. So yeah, I mean, I haven't explored all the options out there. I'm still developing this. So let me know if you're building a TUI website and if you found a bug or something. So yeah, the API is very similar to Ratatouille, almost the same. I try to keep it very compatible. So you create a backend, like you pick one of the backends, you create a terminal type. This is also from Ratatouille, and then you call this closure, and in this closure you basically are matching for events. And in the draw web function, this will give you a frame. You can just render it as usual. And that's the whole API, basically. It's just very close to Ratatouille and makes it super simple to convert existing apps as well. All right, if that's still enough, we have Bevy Ratatouille camera. For Bevy devs, if you're doing game development, you can actually use Bevy with Ratatouille to render these type of things. I'll try to run an example, but let's see if it's gonna work. The last time I checked, it didn't work. It usually takes some time to run for some reason. But what you're gonna see is actually just the 2D cubes or just stuff like that. Actually, never mind, I'm not gonna run it because it takes a lot of time. All right, I just killed it. Okay, well, this isn't a Ratatouille related thing, but it's Rust related, and there was this new TUI framework came out recently. It's been around for a while, but I learned about it recently. It's called Yeehaw, and it is so freaking impressive. It's batteries included text-based application framework, so it's different than Ratatouille. But I mean, just take a look at this, man. So once again, this is in the terminal. Just remember that. So you can like click stuff. It will generate these windows. You can just drag them in the terminal. Like, what the hell? I mean, like you can just click stuff again. These things are just like colors are just part of the library, I guess. Like you can just tweak it. I'm not even using my keyboard anymore. And the widgets there are like a lot of widgets in here. I don't know, like slider and so on. They have an editor like built in. Yeah. Images, it just shows images as usual. Terminal, just a terminal widget, and so on. So, I mean, yeah, you have this menu. I mean, you can do these in Ratatouille as well, but like it's not like built in. You need to use like third-party stuff a lot, and this is like crazy. And there's this button, do not click me. Damn. All right. So the question is, what happens if you run Yeehaw inside Ratatouille, inside Yeehaw, and so on? It is possible, and there's actually a Ratatouille compatibility layer or something like that in Yeehaw, so you can actually run Ratatouille apps as a widget in Yeehaw or something like that. So yeah, I mean, go ahead, man. So yeah, the future. What's the future holds for us? Well, I show you some libraries, and using these libraries, we are shaping our tools. Then they shape us, meaning they change how we think, behave, and perceive the world. So we should choose what we are building wisely, and I think Rust is a great choice because of the reasons that I showed you so far. And in this section, I'm just gonna show you some apps built with Rust and Ratatouille. This is going to be similar to my lightning talk, which I gave last year, same Rust terminal tools that you should use. So people have cooked some stuff using the stuff that I showed you. So we're gonna take a look at them. First one, I think the most important one, I don't wanna skip it. Present term, this is the terminal slideshow tool that I'm using right now. So what you have seen so far was built with, or rendered with present term. And it's just like a markdown file. So let me just show you my presentation right now. Okay, I don't want to spoil it. So I'm gonna scroll up, but like this is my presentation basically. And you can like use, like render images using present term. I am running terminal commands. So like I can just go switch back and forth from my presentation to my terminal, to my presentation to terminal, or like, it's just a great tool for generate like building presentations like this. So yeah, speaking of, my slides are available at this link. So just GitHub Orhun Rustmeet 2025. It's just a markdown file. So yeah, I saw somebody taking a picture, so I'm gonna wait. All right. So flame lens. I hate flame graphs a bit because it's a bit hard to generate them and also like analyze them. So this tool actually changed my view on that, because finally I can just have a single command to generate a flame graph from a command and also just view it in the terminal. So cargo flame graph is for generating the flame graph. I am running this command on my project, and I'm just giving the flame graph to flame lens. And if I run it, so now it's running the performance script. Yeah, the previous output was still there. It's not great, but you see it's like still running. Don't fail me. All right. So you have the flame graph now. You can just browse in the flame graph, and if there's a bottleneck about the performance, let's see, there's this git revoke next. I'm just gonna, like, I don't, you know, like the usual flame graph stuff, or you can just go to this part. And you can also take a look at how much process, like, yeah, how much they took like these calls and so on. Like there, like even more stuff in there. So like everything's possible. And this is not actually a Rust specific tool. So if you're generating flame graphs in your Python project, which is probable because your Python project probably uses a lot of memory and you're trying to figure that out. I'm sorry, I'm actually not sorry, but you can just use Flamelens to take a look at what's going on in there, basically. All right, I hate the Signal desktop app, so I just started using this. Nothing magical, just Signal in the terminal. It's not impressive anymore. We raised the bar too high, come on. We should just build normal terminal tools, man. All right, this is quite an interesting one if you like AI. There's this Quark project which can run multiple AI agents from the terminal in parallel for your code base. So you can just have a ChatGPT-like prompt for your code base, and you can simply in there do a bunch of stuff. So you can, I don't know, get some code completions or create PRs. I think they also support that. And a bunch of stuff. And I think this is quite a nice one. I have tried it out. It's still in development, but you can also give it a try and kind of like get some special LLM for your code base where you can like have more context for the AI and so on. So definitely check it out. They also building some other AI stuff as well. They have a TUI, so shout out to them, I guess. All right, a little bit of a fun project. This is Asterion. So it is a SSH game where you are trying to find your way through an infinite maze. So you can just play it as well. It's multiplayer. So let me run this. Okay, there you go. You have the top heroes right there. and this is my character, the blue dot, and I'm just like moving. I'm on the move, man, and just trying to find the end of this maze. And there's like some minotaurs in this maze. You have to avoid them and so on. And it's really fun. I mean, just imagine 3 a.m. You're on your computer. You don't have energy to do anything. You just run this SSH game and you're trying to like, yeah, you know how it is. Okay, second level. The rest of the presentation will be just playing this game, by the way. There's no other slides. This is the end. All right. Can I get my... All right. This is a music project because I cannot skip these little music tweets. Somebody built a granular sampler that has a terminal user interface. I'm guessing that means something like a custom music making device. I'm not using the best terms here, sorry, Christian, but shout out to you, man. This is just a great example of what is possible in terminal. So we don't have audio, but you can see that he's just doing some stuff over there. It's visualizing its output and looks very, very cool and relaxing for some reason. You can get the full video on the GitHub repo. There's like a, I don't know, 7 or 8 minute video where it just plays around with it. It's quite fun to watch, and it's being visualized in this tweet as well. All right, so honorable mentions. So I've been talking about these new projects, but there are actually a lot of Rust terminal tools built so far, and maybe you want to like maybe you want to contribute to them, or like, I don't know, you're curious about the other big ones apart from these little hobby projects. So there's Zelish. I know you're just using that. Nu Shell. I know not many people. Maybe there. I don't know. Is anybody using Nu Shell? Okay, nobody. But this is a cool one. Starship, prompt for your shell. Arduino, a magical shell history tool, and Helix is a postmodern text editor. Anybody using Helix? All right, perfect. So these are the ones that I could have think of while preparing the slides, but they're like even more Rust. Yes, fish, right. So fish has been rewritten in Rust from C++. It makes me really happy to see the like more low-level projects acknowledging the Rust's strength when it comes to the systems, like performance and so on. So it's great. It's been rewritten in Rust, so we can just add fish to the honorable mentions now. Great. So what are the takeaways from the stuff that I showed you? I was saying reject modernity and embrace the terminal. But then I thought about it a bit, and I think this is the wrong thing to say. Instead, we should say, make the terminal modern again. Because when you think about it, go to 80s or 70s or whenever the terminal was modern, something new or something like this last standard, you know? That was like modern back then. So we are now kind of revolutionary, making the terminal modern again. So yeah, that's the thing. And the terminal ecosystem is actually growing with Rust, thanks to the awesome libraries and tools that I showed you. And there are actually more stuff that don't exist yet. So everyone has their own ideas about what to do in the terminal. Everyone has their own use cases. And there's actually this TUI wishlist discussion. You can go there and see what people have requested, or you can request something in there so that maybe somebody will eventually build it or get inspired to build something that is for themselves but actually is useful for other people. So there are more things to build. I showed you some of the things that I found, and I sometimes feel like, okay, we did this, it's the end, it's over. But no, there are like more stuff to do, and more that we build, we kind of realize that. So get inspired to build your dream tool, please, and just contribute to the existing ones as well. So you might be asking, how do I like start with building this? Because I feel like sometimes I'm overwhelming people with showing these very advanced advanced looking thermal things. Well, it's actually very simple to just get started. Just use our templates repo to start your TUI project today. That sounds like an ad, but not an ad. So we have this Ratatouille templates repo, and you can just use cargo generate. If you don't have it, just cargo install cargo generate. And we recently revamped these templates. So we have a bunch of ones that will satisfy your needs, I hope. So just build whatever you have in your mind. When it comes to contributing, that's also a very important aspect, because more and more projects in the Rust ecosystem are taking breaks or going unmaintained. The ring crate, does anybody, you guys know ring crate? Who knows the ring crate and this issue? Okay. Well, ring crate is a crypto library, not the blockchain one, the actual crypto. I just triggered many crypto people. But the thing is, it has a very crucial place in Rust projects, SSL, other crypto projects. A bunch of projects are depending on this. And this project going unmaintained is quite a hit. And luckily, some people have stepped up and took over the maintenance. But there are like more projects like this, because Brian was just working on this in his free time, probably. Like, this is an open source project, right? He's not being paid. He's probably getting sponsored, but like maybe it's not sustainable for him. Maybe he was just doing a lot of work which kind of burned him out. And I don't know, like there could be many reasons why he decided to do this. But I mean, the point is, please like contribute to the upstream or downstream. So if you're depending on a crate, which you're like using heavily, you need to at least be aware of its maintenance status and kind of track how it's doing, how the release is going, and what is going on. And at some point, I think you should take responsibility if you are using that heavily. And if you cannot take responsibility for it, you should at least like let the others know that they should take responsibility. For example, you're working at a company and they're building this Rust tool. It's going great, but it's going great, but let's say one of the crates was in this situation. I mean, the company, I think, should do whatever they need to do to keep this thing maintained. And this is the story for Ratatouille as well. This was Tuyares before Ratatouille, and it was unmaintained, like very similar reasons, because the author didn't have time. But there are like, I told you the story today, but there are like other, like a lot of other projects would depend on it, and so on. So we took some responsibility with some people, and we kind of made it into Ratatouille. So you could do the same for other projects, or you can at least like contribute, even though it's a small size contribution. It's a contribution. So this needs to be done, and you got to be aware of these situations, I think. So yeah, when it comes to the terminal ecosystem, going away from Rust a little bit, there are actually a couple of improvements. There is this Kitty terminal. Anybody using Kitty? Yep, you guys know about this change? All right, so this is quite impressive. And what has been added to Kitty is now a protocol to display text in different sizes. So there's this new ANSI escape code that will show you a double-sized text. So for example, if I run this command, so this is the Kitty terminal, you see that it is now able to show text in different sizes. So this affects, this changes many things. First of all, what happened? All right, exit. Yeah. So first of all, you can like have these mathematical expressions in the terminal now, because you can use different size of text and many more things. The present term, the presentation tool that I'm using, is now able to render headers for the presentations. So I can just like, I don't know, let me just go to a slide. So I can just use different size of text here, basically. But I need to be using Kitty. You know, I'm right now on Western because it has a very, very good like image and GIF support, and it's just a great choice for my presentations. But I need to go to Kitty, and if I want to render shaders, I want to go back to Rio, and there's another term like there's Ghosty, and like there's too many things, and each one has their own feature. And Kitty implementing this protocol would probably mean that at some point other terminals need to implement it too, because people would be switching to Kitty or demanding this feature in another terminal. So I see a lot of fragmentation in the terminal ecosystem, and not recently, but some time ago, maintainer of Zellige reached out to me about creating a community for having some meetups about terminal software. So we created terminalcollective.org. So this is a community for open source terminal software enthusiasts. This is not like Rust focused. This is just terminal focused. So we want to have these discussions, or like we want to have people in this community where we are discussing all these new protocols or new things that we are planning to add to terminals, and eventually share knowledge with each other. So we have that now. You can join us. I have this website for Terminal Collective, which was built with Ratsila, and you can just go to terminalcollective.org, and we have the links there as well. Right now we haven't done any meetups, but we are planning for it. So yep. So if you want to start building things today, there are some resources for you. Click.dev. This is basically a book where you can learn about how to build command line programs based on traditional Unix principles, and kind of like having like it's basically a guide to help you build modern CLIs. Rust CLI book is another one if you want to start building CLIs using Rust. There are some tutorials on the Rust2 website, and there's a repo where we collect all the awesome stuff built with Ratatouille. So these are the good resources, but there are like even more. So if you're interested, just take a look at these. The last one would be specifically interesting for getting inspired, I think. We have a bunch of categories there. So yeah, if you want to join Discord for these two communities, I know that I'm sharing a lot of Discord links, but guys, what are you gonna do? Like, you can just join Terminal Collective if you're interested in terminals or Ratatouille. In Ratatouille, we have quite a nice discussion about in the showcase channel, like the interesting stuff. So if you don't want to miss out the new Twee developments, Ratatouille developments, join Discord. Terminal Collective, I'm just sharing some terminal resources there. So feel free to join those. And yeah, the slides are also available, like I said, in my GitHub. And that's all, everybody. Thank you, and I can take your questions now.
So the first question is from Julia. Do you have any idea or library that could be helpful to integrate Ratatouille with robotics applications?
Okay, thank you, Julia, for the question. I am right now not aware of anything like that, but there's probably some stuff out there. I need to just go to GitHub and search for Ratatouille robotics or something to find it out. I haven't done it myself, so I don't know. We'll check it out.
And the next is from Sebastian. Where are you getting all of those graphics GIFs from? They are absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Sebastian, for the question. Giphy.com sponsored this talk. Not really, but which ones specifically are you talking about? Because I'm using different resources. Who asked the question? Oh, thank you. Giphy.com. Search for rat animation or vaporwave. Thanks for the question.
Is there a WhatsApp TUI? So awesome. Love your talk.
Thank you, Anonymous. What's up to? I am not aware of that. I think that would be a bit hard to build because of their API, but it should be also possible. Anonymous, let's talk about it and let's build it, man.
And the last one, is Radzilla reactive for mobile devices?
Not yet. Mobile support is a bit tricky because you don't have like even like desktop support is a bit tricky because we're just using key bindings. So you know, in TUI apps you don't have touch functionality. You have to use the cursor. So I haven't added the cursor support yet. But if I do that, and if you can just use like the cursor events on Radzilla, you could probably make it compatible and reactive on mobile devices. But for example, if you're using key bindings, that won't work on mobile. And also the responsiveness is a bit weird because of CSS and stuff like that. On Radzilla apps, there's this index HTML, which you need to add for building the app, basically. That's the entry point. And in there, you can define a CSS. So we are basically depending on the font to be able to render everything correctly. And on mobile, the font size depends on many things. So it is like different on mobile. So it's sometimes a bit glitchy or stuff like that. I'm still exploring that area. So yeah, if you have any ideas, just let me know. Thank you.
Okay, that's all regarding the questions. Oh, there's one more question, but you need a microphone to ask it.
This question comes from someone with ADHD. So in that context, do you have problems with focusing while working on so many stuff? Like, amazing, but how do you mitigate focusing issues? How do you focus on your work actually and get shit done? You know?
Okay. So this is not about like Ratatouille, right? This is more like general question. Okay. I think I am picking the right time to work on things, and I am not doing any work before I feel like working. This is a luxury that comes from doing open source, simply because you're free to change your workflow as you want. So yeah, I'm trying to like create the perfect environment for working on things. Sometimes like at first I was doing that, but then I was like, okay, I can work wherever basically. But at first I needed to find the right time to work on things, and usually nighttime was great for me. So I was just doing open source at nighttime, and yeah, I started out like that basically. That was the perfect time for me to focus. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions?
Okay, I don't see any more questions, so thank you.